year there was a lot of questions about this offensive line coming into the season. You guys answered every single one of them, and I feel like quietly the offensive lineman group here has become, it has kind of a legacy now at this point. Just what does it mean to continue that on? And there's not a lot of questions this year coming in.
Yeah, I get you. Well, I think initially for me coming in last year, you know, there was uncertainty.
Yeah.
I think it was just about upholding the standard that was set by the previous O-line. Those guys before and those guys before them had set the standard of what O-line play is at Oregon, and it was just important for us to uphold that. Guys like Stephen Jones and Marcus Harper and even Josh, they had already been in the program. They really instilled that in us. So just working and upholding that, and then just Terry coming in, and you know he was a GA here before, so he really knows what it's about too. So so all that emphasis on, you know, real Oregon offensive line play.
Do you feel like Oregon is an offensive lineman powerhouse?
Oh yeah, no, I would say so. I really I think we really have pride in our offensive line play, and I think we want to continue to make that a thing.
Something that both Marcus and Josh said. Do you feel like the offensive line has the most personality out of any position group on the team?
I would say so. I think Marcus is a big part of that too. I don't know if you guys talked to Marcus, but he's more than enough personality for all of us. But yeah, but definitely there's guys all over the room. I'd say we have one of the funniest rooms. Like we could laugh all day in there, but obviously when it's time to get serious, we know how to lock in. But it's just always good vibes, and I would say a whole lot of personality for sure.
Coach Terry said in the spring how big it is to have you and JC coming back as the starting tackles. How excited are you to be able to play opposite of him again this year?
Absolutely. I love playing on the same line with Josh. You know, Josh was a guy who, when I came in, you know, just his work ethic. If you watch Josh, you can see how hard of a worker he is and how much he wants to be great. So it's just inspirational. And playing with that guy, it's been so much fun.
Marcus said that Josh is a little bit quieter. Do you think that too?
I mean, Josh is quiet when he wants. He's not a dude who's going to talk too much. So yeah, he's definitely a guy. When you talk to him, he's gonna talk back, but he's not gonna overspeak. You know.
Where do you think you fit in on the offensive line, like in terms of personality? Like, are you like Matthew? Or?
I'm definitely not like Matt. I wouldn't say I'm like Matt, but I've got my own little swag. You know, I'm kind of the East Coast vibe. You know what I mean? So in terms of where I fit in, I just say, you know, the cool vet, but you know. When it's time to lock in, it's time to lock in. It's not just all games.
Do you feel old?
I do feel old now. Yeah, I really do. But I'm excited for this season. I really am.
How much have you seen the true freshmen grow in terms of from the start of spring ball? Now here we are a couple days out from fall camp. It's only been the spring, but how much have you seen those guys like Jaquan McElroy who coming in the fall or in the spring? And you know, this is their first taste of college football.
Definitely, I've been impressed with all those dudes. Like you said, Jaquan and even Trent, and then even the newer dudes like Fox and Devin. Those dudes, they're fast learners and they want to get better. They're always asking questions. They're always, you know, looking for extra drills, the extra tidbits. So I'm just glad to have those dudes with us.
Now, having been here for a full year, do you kind of see yourself taking on more of a leadership role within that offensive line group? I mean, obviously, I know you were starting tackle last year, but now you kind of really established yourself having been here for a year. Are you a guy that those guys tend to lean on a lot and stuff in terms of trying to learn and ask questions?
And definitely. I feel like it's been really important for me to be a leader to those guys. And yeah, they do come to me with questions, and I do everything I can to give them drills, give them answers, and help them however I can to improve their game.
Feels like there's a lot of talk about, like, in the Big Ten, you got to win trenches. Do you think you guys have already been like that and playing like a Big Ten team for a while?
I mean, what's it called? I think we compete at every level. You know what I mean? I'm excited to compete with those guys, but yeah, I think we've been playing both. That's all I can say.
Who's been the toughest guy for you to go up against in spring ball in terms of the defensive line?
Actually, there's a lot of good guys on our D line. It'd be hard for me to say, but Mateo, Uyangalele, and then Jordan Birch is always good. And we got some new faces on the D line too, like Derek Harmon and Caldwell. So yeah, those dudes are all giving good looks.
Do you think with Harmon coming from Michigan State, that gives you a little bit of a preview of what that might be like going into the Big Ten?
Absolutely, the kid's good, and I'm excited to work more with him in fall camp and get that work in. So yeah, I'm just excited to compete with those guys.
What are you least looking forward to on the places that you're going to end up traveling?
I think the flights are going to be long because, you know, I'm from New York, so I take that flight every break, and it's a long flight. So, yeah, I just say, like, probably the travel, but I'm definitely excited to get to those places and see those stadiums and compete with those teams.
What will October 12th mean for you when it came down to here at Ohio State for you and out of the portal? What is that individual matchup? What will that mean to you personally?
Me personally? Honestly, we treat every team the same. Like I said, I'm excited to compete with those Big Ten teams, but right now I'm just focused on having the best fall camp I have, and we're going to take things one game at a time.
Obviously, you had a great D-line last year, a lot of older guys. I'm sure in practice went at you every day. What is it about Birch that makes him a challenge on a day-to-day basis, that makes him potentially the top D lineman, not just on this team, but one of the best in the country? What is it about him that's that way, John?
I mean, he's just a seasoned veteran in every sense. You know, he knows how to work his speed. He knows how to work his power. He's always going to challenge you. He's good in the run and the pass. So he's always someone I'm looking forward to going against in practice.
What are those areas that you're personally looking at to improve on, to put yourself in the best position to, if the goal for this team is to get to Indianapolis in December, you know you're going to be there in March or February, March, whatever it is. All right, but beyond being there and going through the combine to where you feel like you're in that class of the tackles,
Yeah.
What do you have to do the next 8 months to put yourself in that best spot?
Right now, I'm just focusing on having the best season I can have with this team and making it to that national championship. So I would say me just continue to improve as a leader and be a great leader for the rest of the offense and those young guys too.
How do you plan to approach this fall camp differently than you did last year?
Oof, that's a good question. I mean, for me, it's always just about growth. So every day I want to grow as much as I can and give it my all. I don't want to leave anything on the field any day in this fall camp, for sure.
Do you pay attention to Oregon's like old records against these Big Ten teams, or is it all new for you?
Not really. I'm just excited to compete. I don't really dwell on the past or look at those things, but I know they have played some Big Ten teams in the past for sure.
Have you seen Pancho grow?
Oh my gosh, Pancho is one of the most impressive players I've seen. In my time in college. You know what I mean? The way he came in last year, being able to play all three of the interior positions, and then now he's just continuing to gain his confidence, even though he was already pretty confident as a freshman. So I'm just excited to see him keep going and how he plays this season. But yeah.
Where does increased confidence show up with a young player like that? Like, how do you measure that, or say you see that?
Just you can hear it in his voice, especially when he's communicating, or certain things he might have hesitated before. He's just super confident and just moving even faster, and like he's just so sure in all his communication.
Are there any of the true freshmen that are really catching your eye right now? Could be your group, could be someone else. Any of those young guys that are kind of popping for you?
Like I said, all of them have really impressed me. Like I said, I think this fall camp will be good for everybody to see things like that too.
It's going to be different for your family, Johnny, with this move conference-wise, so where like people back home don't got to worry about Pac-12 network.
Yeah, for sure.
They can't watch it, whereas now, like, all right, Peacock streaming, I understand, but outside of that, like, the Cablevision or whoever in Harlem will be.
Yeah,
you can actually watch every game.
Yeah, definitely. My family is definitely excited for that. They did have a little bit of complaints with the hour difference and all that, but they're definitely excited to be able to get to some of these closer games too when we're traveling east, for sure.